seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Where we're from, the 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With a great escape we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the waters still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. That's who we be, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the house of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Our highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us. Together our wives and children sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. Our highest gathering. From Australia, in the cup, the Mexicans, from the Eagles, living in the way, they are the nations. I am gathering in Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we be, Oh, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the house of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Our highest gathering Israel.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Ricard Shiar, along with Elder Lawyer here. All praises be to the Almighty. We're here live as the Gathering of Christ Church, or elders within the church. Here to bring you your weekly broadcast. There's a lot going on in the earth right now, and I thought we would just come on a little earlier than usual. And you know what? Today, for real, we're actually going to hear from the listeners. Okay? Now, being out and about getting my own, what you would call, rations or whatever the case is at this time.
Right.
Making sure that I'm out getting my essentials. All right. I thought I would do my own analysis on the current situation. Right. There's a weird dichotomy that's going on in the earth today, and I don't know if you all are recognizing this, but it flows right, Elder Lawyer, into the week. Right. We're going to transition this from our Sabbath Minority Report pre-crime, right? And I wanted to go into a different segment today of Minority Report, which would be the last part, which is the world, as well as the churches, are in utter confusion. No doubt about it. But I'll tell you this, those who are in authority are not. So I took my own analysis today, right? Because, of course, everyone right now is, doing their best to comply with the lockdown, with them being deemed sick through quarantine, understandably so. But what I found interesting, elders, and I have Elder Godge on the line, I'm going to bring him, and I'm sure the other elders are going to come in. What I find interesting is most people are doing this not to, I'm talking about staying locked down.
Yeah.
Not because they're trying to do their part in helping fight off this sickness or not, or not catching the disease. Most people are doing this because they're in sheer fear of the unknown. And it has nothing to do with the sickness. I took my own, analysis as I went to Home Depot, talking to a few guys who work there and others. And I had to write some of this down because I wanted to make sure we have what you would call a quantified discussion, because I want you to come in and give me your analytics, your understanding of what this is, right? So I went and took my own analysis in my talking with the people who out there, who have to be out there, who conveniently work, in the what you would call businesses which are essential. Like, of course, Home Depot to get your wood. You definitely have to, that's essential. You have to be able to get your wood or your wrench or be able to get the soil for your garden.
Right.
But that evil coming together and praying to God, let's hold that off. Okay, but Home Depot, Walmart. Now all types of people frequent Walmart, but that's essential.
Right.
Right? Man, watch this. But let me go down here. You can give me your opinion. My question to you all, and I really need y'all to deal with this and understand this and answer this question, okay? It's almost rhetorical. Is this a cold or flu, what we're in right now? Call it what you want. Right up under your nose, it went from coronavirus to COVID-19 without you even batting an eye. Did y'all recognize this? They didn't even tell you when it switched. And see, you know what that's doing? For those who understand what this is and are not confused, they're trying to see if the psyop is taking as far as the media's impact with this rollout, be it internet, be it radio, be it mainstream media, be it looking at your regular television programs. They want to see if this programming is right on point to the degree when they switch, the people switches with it without even realizing it. It went from coronavirus to COVID-19 without you even recognizing it. There was no such thing as COVID-19 when this first broke out and the talk about this in China, in Wuhan. But it went strictly from coronavirus to COVID-19 and in the hood now they calling it Roni or Rona. We have to give our own spin to it now. They got Bobby Brown Tenderoni now. Roni is the name of this in North Philly. Man, you get the Roni? Man, I heard that thing is deep.
Right.
But if this thing have morphed a life in itself, right? But here's my question. Is this a cold or a flu, or are we under a social reconstruction? Are we under a social reconstruction? That's the question. I want you to make sure you write that down. We're going to hit that. Now, here's my assessment dealing with the people that I normally speak to and talk to when I go to get my essentials. All right? Because, behind the mask are people, believe it or not. Right? There's people behind those masks. At least I still think so. At least I still feel so. I still feel that these are loving, caring people. Okay, I don't know what, now you know what the people upstairs, those who aren't confused, you know how they would like you to see the person who's working at Walmart, working at Home Depot. They don't want you to see them as people. I'm going to get there in a moment with you. Okay? But the normal assessment, Elder Lawyer, that I'm getting, and for those who are listening, is when I ask the people, what is this? It's the assessment is they're confused. I'm confused. I don't know what this is. That's interesting. Because the media is telling us over and over and over again that this is a cold or a flu on steroids. And this is the reason why we must wear these masks, social distancing. You can't have no one over your house. You can't love anyone or kiss anyone anymore. They're telling us it's because of this plague. Right? But why are they confused then? If it's what the media is telling them, why are they confused and have no idea what's going on? Now, one person that I was talking to said, well, and I'm like, you know, there's more to it than this. He said, and one guy came to me and said, well, I don't want to believe that.
Wow. That's very interesting.
No, straight up, I had to write it down.
Wow.
You know, look, I had these papers in my car, and as I was getting this stuff organically from people, folks, you can't make it up. I scribbled it down, but I'm like, we have to talk about this. I don't want to believe that. Okay. Some people say, well, there's something they aren't telling us. I got that. I also got, I'm confused to what this is. Now, mind you, these are people within the same proximity in one Home Depot. All of these people are now wearing masks and are confused to what this is and getting the answer from every person I talk to, because we're still allowed to talk to people right now. Okay? Now, so my question is this a cold or a flu? Or is this a social reconstruction? Because I don't understand how the good old boys can go play golf right now, but yet blacks, Latinos, and all those who have always depended on our spiritual base, which is church, is third tier to be released into the normal population to gather and praise God like we used to. Right? And I have something on that. Now, next part. Some people don't want to accept it not being what the televisions are telling them or what the news is saying, in hopes of society going back to the way it was. So that's what you call a cognitive dissonance. They'd rather not hear, because at least if they listen to what the politicians are saying, there's hope that one day things will go back to normal. That's a dangerous place to be, and we're gonna go into that. How that's a dangerous way to think. Now, and I wrote this down as I thought. I pulled over my car and began to write these down, and I didn't want to lose these thoughts. Number one, are we satisfied with everyone wearing masks, believing that the same people that are wearing the mask might have the sickness? Are we satisfied with that? That means I'm wearing a mask because why? You might infect me, but the person that comes in thinks the same thing. We're both taking protective measures, but we're both a threat to one another. I mean, if I had this diabolical plan to control the world, I would do just this. Make it so no one trusts each other, But yet we trust those who are not confused to what this is. They know exactly what this is. And the whole point of their programming is to have us confused concerning it. Now, we're not confused to what it is because we were never looking to them for answers from the first place. We were never looking to them for answers. We understood that the Bible gave us the understanding of this time so that we, those who believe, wouldn't be confused in this time. Let me roll it off now. Are you satisfied with everyone wearing masks, believing they might have this sickness? And as a result, not trusting any person anywhere, including your own family, in fear of them having the plague? Maybe you're satisfied with leaving your loved ones, your family, alone and scared in an institution called a hospital, with them there alone, with no one to advocate for them, only for that loved one to end up sedated and in an induced coma, or even worse. Are you satisfied with that? Huh? For someone to take the person you love, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your cousin, and isolate them in an institution, and because they call it something, that person scared and alone have no advocate to help them through this at a more, I would say, more scarier time since the world existed. And they're alone, separated by themselves. Do we trust that? So I'm going to ask you all, what is this to you? Because I'm getting all these different answers. And we're going to quantify this to give you the answer to what this is. Another thing jumped out at me, Elder Lawyer and Elder Gabar. I mean, Elder Gabar, I know you out there, and Elder Gaja. This resonated with me more so than anything. I had to go home and come right back. But on my way driving here, I had to pull over again. I pulled over again. And I'm like, man, this is so deep. This is so deep. For the longest, the Most High have been warning his people, God's people, all of us in the earth, whether you Jew, Gentile, doesn't matter what your religion was. He'd been warning us and showing us, according to prophecy, that something was coming. And he kept saying, wash you, make you clean, put away the evils of your doing. And no one listened to him at all when he say cleanse our inside. But the government is saying get sanitizer, get bleach. And everyone is running to clean the outside.
Right.
You cannot find bleach. You cannot find sanitizer. I'm like, man, look at the irony in this. Where the Most High was saying clean ourselves and no one listens. But when those that you know are working for the other team says clean everything around you, you're going to get a plague. There's no bleach or sanitizer anywhere. Hey, there's a reckoning going on. There's a reckoning. So there's two pieces here. The last thing I'm going to lay out, and then I'm going to relay it to you, because there's a few things I want to talk about, and I'm going to open it up so that you can give us some insight to what you think this is and how you believe this thing will play out. Right? You know I'm getting messages and things all over the place. Let me tell you, I don't care what they're claiming that's out there. I'm never going to stop loving the people I love. I'm never going to stop hugging the people I love. I'm never going to distance myself from the people I love. And I'm not going to stand back and allow some plague out there that they claiming happening. I'm not going to allow someone to hold my family somewhere against their will without me being the advocate for them. Okay? It's not going to happen. Because if we continue to allow things like this, what of our families? What happens? Where does it end? Like I keep on telling my sons over and over again, if I'm any place, if you're any place, I will risk my life to get you. Okay? Straight up. Don't you ever leave me someplace sedated. I have an agreement with everyone I love. Don't you ever let someone put me down and claim I'm in a coma. Ever. Let me speak for me. Because the hospitals are doctors, they're top psychologists, and they'll find the weakest of the bunch with the biggest mouth to convince everyone to help them put your family down. They'll find the simplest one with the biggest mouth. And at the end of it, the person that both of them are speaking about, the hospital and the family, that person is dead. Sitting there with a trach up in them, sedated with no say. Like, don't you ever have me down and I'm sedated and make a decision on me. Wake me up and ask me what I want to do. Okay? Now, here it is now. Is it a code or social reconstruction? That's one level. That's two levels, right? I'm talking about here. The next thing, we have the authority and we have the religious side of things. And what's deep is those we trust as the authority in these matters, in the healthcare field, nurses, doctors, whatever the case, they are confused to what this is as much as the people I spoke to in Home Depot. Mm-hmm. These are the authority that everyone cheering. Oh, yeah. You're the heroes. They're doing, this is the same script as 911 with the firefighters.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You think they care about those firefighters? Folks, I'm going to tell you right now. The doctors are confused. The nurses are confused. And let's not even talk about the church. We had this pastor as simple as a day's old on YouTube the other day saying, okay, church, any minute now we'll be raptured. Don't you know this is how we got in this condition? To where our people are about to be rounded up? That's the rapture, FEMA camps. You're not going to get picked up somewhere and taken somewhere for a 7-year period. You've been lied to by the Jesuits. And this Saturday, Elder Lawyer, this Sunday, we need to go into the rapture deception and the immaculate deception.
Absolutely.
The Christianity's two legs of what? You got it, the strong delusion. Here it is, this pastor is talking about the church can be raptured any minute now. And I just received, a report that in Georgia, that they're going throughout certain houses, especially the low income project areas, to take blood one house at a time. And you waiting to be raptured? If there's an antichrist, he's operating right now, and you're still here. So I'll be going into that this coming Sunday. The rapture deception, the rapture and the immaculate deception, the two legs of what the Bible calls the strong delusion. This coming Sunday. Now, let's deal with the experts. Anything you have to say, Elder Lawyer, before I roll these some of my footage? I have some good footage today. Come on.
No, sir. Let's get to the footage.
Let's get to the footage. Let's do it. Right? Now, I laid out the talking points. Eventually, As you can see, 515-605-9327 will allow you to come in through Blog Talk, right? And and also we have our conference lines together, which is 712-451-0439. The access code 168934. And yes, people are just sending in. I hear it's being sent in. I really appreciate all of your support. And with whatever you send, believe me, it will be put to good use. We're having a lot of conversations behind the scenes that not will just help the church, but others who've been following the work for a long time, because we're not just going to leave you out there. Okay? We're working to make sure we have gardens, provisions, whatever the case is, and locations, so that when all this go down, our people will have some level of help. So if you want to support on your screen, it's there during the whole broadcast, okay? You can come in through the conference call as well as the Blog Talk line on the screen, okay? Either one, okay? And I want to hear what your take to all of this is, but let's go. Let's go here. Let's start here. Let's see what she has to say. Now, these are doctors, folks. These are doctors.
Frankly, I don't care, because this could save someone's life. I'm a nurse practitioner. I am licensed and certified. I am not on the front lines. I have a friend in New York City who's on the front lines. And for her safety, she cannot come out and say these things. So I am her voice. I'm not going to name names of people or hospitals for the safety of those involved. But this is her account, okay? I am her voice here. I'm going to tell you what she has told me. She wants this to get out. Now, I'm sure this is not the case everywhere. I'm confident. I have friends that are in other places. They're on the front lines. They're in ICU. And it's not like this everywhere. But in New York City right now, in some of the hospitals, this is what is going on. People are sick, but they don't have to stay sick. They are killing them. They are not helping them. She used the word murder, coming from a nurse who went to New York City expecting to help. Patients are left to rot and die. Her words. She has never seen so much neglect. No one cares. They are cold and they don't care anymore.
These are
It's
loved
the
ones that
blind
leave in the
leading the
hospital.
blind. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I was on with some nurse friends of mine, and we were discussing different medications that could be used to potentially help people. Doctors who were reporting around the country that they were using a combination of medications that were helping people. People were not dying when they were on these medications. They were getting better. Those medications are not being used in hospitals in New York City. What is happening is that they're putting people on nasal cannula. If they require more than 6 liters of nasal cannula, they get intubated, they go on the vent, or they get trached if there's not enough vents. They don't get high flow, no non-rebreather, no non-invasive ventilation, no CPAP, no BiPAP. They're on a closed system, the ventilator, versus a CPAP or a BiPAP, for fear that it will spread the virus. Which, by the way, I know a nurse in Florida who was fired for exposing that about CPAP and BiPAP, and patients being put on the ventilator, like straight away to the ventilator, to be on a closed system. The patients don't know any better. They don't have family with them. There is no one there with them to advocate for them. So they are scared and they give consent. The ventilators have high PEEP, high pressure, which then causes barotrauma. It causes trauma to the lungs. Dr. Siddell, Cameron Kyle Siddell, a few weeks ago put out a video. He's in New York City, and he put out a video saying something is not right, like we're not treating this correctly. We're doing something wrong. This doesn't make sense. They pulled his video from YouTube and they took him out of ICU because they couldn't have one doctor going against the grain, going against their protocol. The protocol is propofol, or some kind of sedation, because they're on the ventilator, and IV antibiotics. There's no hydroxychloroquine. They're not using that combination with Zithromax. They're not using zinc, vitamin C, high doses of vitamins A and D. They laugh. This is what she's told me. They laugh at that. She says, this is a nightmare. It's out of a horror movie, and I don't want to be a part of this. There are people who are a full code, and yet, if they crash, they're not doing compressions because it will spread the virus. Full code, not doing compressions. Family is not there. They have no one to answer to. No one is being held accountable. A code was called, and no one came. So sometimes they're not even resuscitating people. Again, left to rot and die. They're not given blood because we know that the blood is not oxygenated in these COVID patients. We know that. There are doctors all around the world sounding the alarms. These are the drugs that work. This is the pathophysiology of the disease. This is what's happening. And for some reason, it's not changing. Even though we know, some of us know what's going on, nothing is changing on the front lines. They stay in the same PPE all shift, except for the top pair of gloves. So 2 pairs of gloves, or I don't know, maybe more than 2, but they're only changing the gloves on the outside. Gown, mask, whatever else stays the same because all patients are COVID patients. So if it's a COVID floor, it's all COVID, but it's not because some of them are rule out COVID. So even if they're rule out COVID and they're not COVID, they're going to get COVID because they're using the same PPE all shift and they're carrying that contamination to all of the patients. They're not changing their PPE. They're not going into rooms. So they're running long tubing into the room so that they can manage the tubing from outside of the rooms. So if they're not going into the rooms, that means they're not assessing the patients as frequently as you would be otherwise assessing your patients. They are not doing rapid result tests. You're lucky if you get results in 5 days. Okay, this is coming from my friend who is in New York City right now on assignment, who went there to help, and this is what she's finding. It's a horror movie, she says. Not because of the disease, but because of the way it's being handled. She said, we need help, and people are sitting there waiting in the hotels. Money, I guess, being paid, it's being paid for by FEMA, and yet they're still understaffed. And there are hundreds of people, hundreds of nurses in the hotels waiting to be called onto a shift. So there is manpower enough if the goal were to actually save people. But resources are not being utilized properly or to full capacity in a way that maximizes the patient benefit or improves the outcomes. The records and charting are crap. And now some of these hospitals in New York City are probably crappy on a good day. So you add in the fear of COVID and the fear of the whole pandemic and forget it. So if you're in a crappy hospital with crappy nurses, let's face it, all of us nurses have worked with crappy nurses before who don't care. So now you add in this, forget it. And they're having people do things that they can't do. So maybe things that they're not proficient in. So maybe a nurse who's not familiar or comfortable with using a ventilator. And it's that figure it out mentality. Figure it out. These patients are critical and they're crashing, figure it out. So nurses are being celebrated as heroes, right? We see how like the fire trucks and the police are like lining up and practically having these parades and celebrating them as heroes. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure in some parts of the country and other ICUs, I have friends that are working on the front lines in ICU and they are good nurses and some of them are heroes. But we have nurses being celebrated as heroes who are killing people. They're not heroes and they're being brainwashed to think they're doing something great just by going to work because they're brave enough to go to work. Well, what are you doing at work? You're certainly not saving people if you're not even running codes. You're not even going into patient rooms. You're a coward. You're hurting people. You're killing them. You're contributing to the problem. I know I'm going to get hate mail for this, and that's fine. Because people are dying who don't have to die. Again, there's no family there, so no one's being held accountable. And once these people get intubated, they're being scared into giving consent to be intubated, and then for a lot of them, it's over. And there's nobody going to be held accountable. And there's nobody looking out for them. They are completely by themselves. There's like a total lack of critical thinking. It's out the window. And people are scared to speak up. And one person alone isn't going to change the overall culture of a hospital or a system or a city. Like I said, Dr. Cameron Kyle Seidel's video was pulled from YouTube. And he was pulled from the ICU for sounding the alarm and going against the grain. So people are sounding the alarm. It's just not changing anything, apparently. So what can you do? Buck the system. I'm really fortunate. I don't have any family in New York City that I personally have to worry about. If there are people that you are worried about, or maybe it's not even New York City, maybe you're in another city that's being really hard hit and you're just hearing really bad things coming out of that city, buck the system. Something is wrong in the system. So go against the grain. Request records immediately. Records, transcripts, immediately. If there's a medication that you want your loved one to be given, report it as an at-home medication and demand that it be continued. That's just a tip from inside the system. If you want a medication to be given, you've got to report that it's an at-home medication and that you demand that it be continued. Your loved one is not going to have you in there advocating for them. Once they go in, you're not allowed in. The only reports that we're able to get of what's going on are coming from the inside, and people are afraid to speak out. People have lost their jobs. Do not give consent for intubation if you don't want to be intubated or your loved one to be intubated. Demand non-invasive or less invasive ventilation methods. As soon as you give that consent, you might not come out of it. Now, in some cases, it might be appropriate. We just don't know. We know that it's being used inappropriately in a lot of cases, and that the ventilators are making people worse.
Thank you.
Please share this video, make it go viral. People need to know this. This is the truth of what's going on from my nurse friend who's in New York City right now on assignment. This is murder, she says. People are being murdered and no one cares. Horrible care.
Now, people, I got one more to show. It's less minutes for the next video. It's a brother who's a doctor. Now, some of you are asking for the links, but brothers and sisters, I have to download these through some type of YouTube downloader I use to download these, because no sooner as you try to go back to the video, it's gone. So that's why I had to actually, I'm playing this off my desktop. There was 2 other doctors who came and said that we are in greater harm of our immunity being compromised, staying in our homes without frequenting people. Because why? Our bodies will not build up a natural immunity with us coming in contact with people. So we're in greater risk being separated and not being around people. So now, if you run into a cold that you would have normally adjusted to, that thing will be like a flu, and vice versa. Now, one more video, and then I'm going to ask your opinions here. One moment. Here's a brother. These are doctors. Listen to him.
So I'm going to say this one thing, and then I'm going to end it here, and then I'm going to load the pictures up, right? So if there's a disease that's going around, you know it's killing a whole bunch of people, right?
Nurse,
there's no way to treat it. I work at 2 different hospitals, and I can personally tell you that we're treating it differently at both hospitals, which means that no one has it figured out, right? So if you know that there's a disease that there's no way to treat it, basically what we're doing here is we're testing shit out because we don't know which route to go, right? So if you're still out there hanging out, partying, inviting your friends over, only quarantining with the people you know, you're increasing your chance of getting disease, right? Just so that you can come here for us to practice the shit on you, right? Now, how smart is that? How smart is that? So I just want to put this out there for people to think about. So keep hanging out and keep being the test dummy so we can figure this shit out for the smart people that stay home.
So, but what is he saying in a nutshell? There's no one way to treat any of this. So they're just testing and experimenting on people coming into the doctor's office or hospitals. So if the doctors don't know what to do and are confused, if the nurses are confused to what this is, because at the end of the day, whoever know what this is, which are the controllers, are getting exactly what they want out of this. They get exactly what they want. Total separation and mistrust amongst the population. Right? Certain essential businesses are now making hands over fists. Supermarkets have already met their quota for the year. So anyone have any inside trading information are making hands over fists if they have actually invested in stock when it comes to paper towel, sanitizer. If they knew what was going to happen, and guess what? They knew exactly what to put their money on and hedge their bets on with this, what you would call social reconstruction. On top of this, if people are separated, you have less people talking about what's really going on and planning to survive in this war. Because that's what it is. We're just at the psychological stage of it. If you have left people talking and communicating, then what happens? Now you can have your family member who's separated through social distancing now in Georgia, and now a sister or brother who's on welfare and always dependent on the system get a phone call. They're afraid because there's a chance they may have COVID. You don't know what the doctors and stuff is talking to with these people who they've targeted for organs. You come into the community, take their blood, take it back to these same hospitals, and then suppose that person is an exact match of some rich person in another country who needs an organ. They can just shut that house down, yellow tape it, say there's COVID in the house, drag that man or woman out of the house, totally get them separated from their family, and now say it's COVID, put them on a ventilator, take their organs, done deal. Family can't say nothing, they died of COVID. So who's ever in charge of this isn't confused at all. But I have to say something else, and it's going to be at the end of this. There's a higher power that's in control of it all. Who warned us of this time, who told us a long time ago to clean ourselves before the government told you to wash your hands. Okay? There's a higher power who told us a long time ago, other lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
In Revelation, the 13th chapter, that the mark of the beast system would be an eventual. It's prophetic. So everyone that's looking for things to go back the way it was, it's not prophesied to go back the way it was. It's prophesied that the mark of the beast will be instituted. And a certain level of wickedness will be allowed because we've allowed wickedness up until this point. Satan just kept nudging us further and further and further, and we just accepted it, not realizing it would come to a point in which you could no longer resist. That's what happened. That's why it says, and people say, well, why do God allow it? It says, he that letteth until the Most High will take it out of the way. Why? He's not just going to judge those who are behind it. He's also going to judge those who've complied, who loved it, and participated in where we are right now. So you can say, well, they're wicked and evil, but these are the things you compromise your soul for. You let this happen. Okay, and that's just the truth. We seen these parades all around the place. We seen these flags all around the place. And we sat back with our children, shaking our head, doing nothing. Nothing. We seen the influence and that this was having on our children and said absolutely nothing. And now we want to talk about God. Every time we brought out the Bible during all this time saying a change is going to come, it's coming. People were saying the Bible's a joke. That's evil. It's about science. I had 3 separate phone calls today on the way here. And it's deep because I have to put this out there. 2 calls were the same calls. Elder Lawyer, you can come in anytime after this because I'm going to open up the calls. Check this out. And it's deep that I'm getting more calls from sisters overseas and the United States than I am brothers, to tell you the truth. And I have to state this because 2 sisters say it the same thing. The first thing I ask when a sister call, I've been listening to you all for a long time. Where can I link in? I've been looking at y'all, but now I see what's coming down the pipeline. How can I link in? My first response to that person is, excuse me, are you married? Where's your husband? Right? That's my first response to a sister calling. Where's your husband? Guess what? 2 out of 3 calls I got today where sisters got through. Okay? Both of them have Christian husbands. In particular, it was almost uncanny getting the same call within a 15-minute span where sisters are asking for solutions with Christian husbands. And I'm like, okay, he's still our brother. We love him. But guess what? Christians don't have answers. They don't have answers because they were told not to do anything, while those that are controlling things, folks, are in total unified. They're totally unified for Satan. And they're working for their initiatives to set this world up, this new world order against the righteous. But yet the church that was supposed to oppose this wickedness, has compromised. Satan's Masonic orders and fraternities are working with one mind, one spirit to build their Babylonian tower against our God. But yet the Christians are sitting around waiting to get picked up by Christ. In the midst of a time in which the greatest spiritual war on earth should be unfolding, the righteous against the unrighteous. Okay, you don't have these Satanists and scientists, these atheists, these wicked doers. You don't see them waiting for something to happen later. But yet Christians are sitting back. You are the ones who are entrusted to pray together and unify against the wickedness. And you are sitting back waiting to get picked up by Christ. When now the sisters have to come and say, listen, I understand what he's talking about, but let me call these brothers who've been talking about it for a long time while you sit on the couch talking about Jesus going to pick me up. Because you know who's going to get to your house before Jesus, you Christians? FEMA. FEMA they will rapture you before Jesus because there will be no rapture. You've been deceived. That was a Jesuit delusion. Those that are left behind in the Bible according to Christ are the righteous ones. They taught the scripture in reverse and made it a doctrine they would teach in the Christian church so that the righteous couldn't oppose the wickedness in this earth at the most prophetic time since the Bible was penned. They wanted the Christians on the sideline because only those in Christ can oppose this wickedness from a spiritual standpoint. And they knew it. So they say we have to do something about these Christians because they're more fervent in spirit than anything. Or let's come up with a vaccine that'll attack their brain so they make it so that that God gene don't kick in. And if you don't think that's in that vaccine too, you have another thing coming. Let's do that. Okay, well, we need some Jesuits. What are we going to do about this doctrine? Because we got these Christians who are going to oppose us. And when Christ comes in, there's not much we can do. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what. Let's set up our Jesuit demons and set them up as theologian professors. Because you know how those black people, they always love white people who seem as if they know what they're talking about. And let's teach a doctrine called Left Behind. And let them believe that the church is going to be raptured before the boogeyman comes on the scene with a 666 on his head and administer the mark of the beast. So if they think they're going to be picked up, then there's no need in putting on spiritual armor to actually battle what we'll bring against them. Let's use a rapture deception to do what? To lower the Christians and those who believe in Christ's defense system. If they believe they're going to be gone, they're not going to prepare. And that's where Christians are right now. They're just as confused as the people I talked to in Home Depot today. Huh? But we're going to go there. Elder Lawyer, what you have to say, and then we're going to open up these calls because maybe some of you can tell us what's going on. Because I'm going to tell you, Donald Trump isn't confused. The governors aren't confused. The presidents and ministers over the earth aren't confused. They're unified. They shut this whole earth down at one time over a code. Okay? And let's make this clear. This is what COVID is. COVID is any sickness they say it is. That's what it is. Okay? That's exactly what it is. If you have any pre-existing conditions or any illness, you are COVID. Okay? On top of that, hey, the Washington Post. We went into this in the academy. The Washington Post just reported that the majority of tests that are going out were tainted with COVID, where they will swab you with it and say you're positive. So COVID is whatever they say it is. Okay. Does it exist? Of course it exists. Of course it does. Okay. But it doesn't warrant everyone putting on masks and all this stuff, because why? Usually if you get a cold, your body builds an immunity to it. And only a stronger cold can come in. That cold that had you before will never affect you the same because you built a natural immunity. So if we just got COVID and got over it, like 90% of the people are actually doing, believe it or not.
Exactly.
COVID is not even a threat anymore because their body done built a natural immunity. But it's a sure way to separate you and be quarantined so that they can do whatever they want to do without resistance. You see the phone call, right? We're going to open up the lines here. And most people, guess what? Most people under their cognitive dissonance who want to believe and hope that things going to change, I'm going to tell you, they're going to be the ones rolled over first because they ain't doing no preparation in a time in which we're still able to. Let's go. Elder Lawyer, what you got? Talk to me.
Yes, sir. First thing, I think at this point, as the world is still going corona crazy and still trying to figure out what's going on with the virus. Is the virus real? Is it not? How did it become a part of, everyday society as far as people worrying about whether they're going to get the coronavirus and so on and so forth? I think at this point, we're getting to the point where now the focus is now shifting to more so looking at what's being allowed and what's being introduced because of the COVID-19.
Yeah.
Regardless of what people may feel about it, your opinion about it, let's take some time to look at what's being instituted, what's being set in place because of COVID-19. Okay, the fact that surveillance is being put in place, where they can put a drone in the sky and state that, well, based on the fact that you have a cough or you have a certain temperature, now, based on that information, you could now be, identified as a COVID patient, and then now precautions or procedures will be put in place to ensure that you don't infect the rest of the population. Now, a lot of these things that are being put in place reminds me of some of the things that were put in place for the sake of so-called 9/11. Where they were now putting certain security measures in place for the sake of, quote unquote, catching terrorists.
Exactly.
Now, if we notice, those things that were put in place, the procedures that were put in place with the TSA at the airport, the scanners, so on and so forth, the Patriot Act, the surveillance of phone calls, so on and so forth, we noticed that those things have never been put back under wraps.
Exactly.
So they put it in place for one thing, but 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, you still find out that they're using these things, and no longer are they using it for the thing that they claimed it was for in the first place. So now they have a scanner, or they have a drone in the sky that was supposed to detect COVID-19, but now it's being used for other measures.
Exactly.
You understand, to further oppress the society, so on and so forth. And I wanted to read a scripture in relation to some of the things you were stating as far as the trust we have put in the governments in the earth and what they've been bringing forward thus far. It's like, and we brought this out a few weeks ago, it's like now everyone is a religious zealot for COVID-19. Everyone is now following the protocol exactly to the letter of the law as the government has stated.
Oh yeah, but they're under grace when it comes to following God's law.
There you go. There you go.
But there's no grace with COVID.
Exactly. So we told you, we've been telling how many years we've been telling you put down the unclean foods and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Now the government is stating that, well, or at least what's being reported is that if you have pre-existing health conditions,
Yeah.
many of which have been caused by the consumption, the overconsumption of these unclean foods, now they're telling you you're at greater risk for COVID-19. And now everyone is in fear. Because I got the diabetes, because I have cancer, because I have, this disease, that disease, I now become more predisposed to die because of COVID-19. But when we were telling you to put down the things that are causing the diabetes, the high cholesterol, so on and so forth, that's done away with.
And it was the passes.
Exactly.
We've been eating pig feet for. My grandmother ate pig feet and lived to 115.
Exactly. And they're still eating pig feet.
Yeah.
They're still eating the hammocks and all the garbage that we were stating to put down in the first place. But
Exactly.
I want to read this real quick in the book of 1 Corinthians, the 2nd chapter, the 4th verse. It says, "And my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom." And that's what we've been following up until this time in this earth. We've been following enticing words of man's wisdom, the enticing words of your pastor, the enticing words of your scientists, your doctors, so on and so forth. And now we're finding out that they really don't know what they're talking about. They have no answers for you. Okay?
Anyone that say they're practicing medicine, I'll tell you what, I'll come back after you finish practicing.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
Peace. Deuces.
Exactly.
Go on.
And here's the hypocrisy in that. I'm not sure if you heard. Now, anyone who is mentioning using alternative measures to treat COVID-19, vitamin C, so on and so forth.
Yeah, the natural stuff that God made.
Exactly. They are being ostracized, and videos are being pulled down, and legal actions are being taken against people who are speaking of using alternative measures. But I thought this was new for everyone. I thought we're all testing out and trying to figure out the best solution for this. So anyone in their right mind would say, well, look, instead of just casting away the idea of your alternative method, right? Let's look at the data of the measures you have taken thus far. Let's see if it actually worked. How many patients have you treated with this who have been confirmed with COVID-19? And let's see how many of them have overcome it based on your alternative measure. And possibly we can implement that as a solution for COVID-19.
Exactly.
But we don't see that.
Nah, because there is no clear, definitive understanding to what COVID-19 is.
Exactly.
Right? But go on.
Yes, sir. Just finishing this off, and you can elaborate on this.
Go
It
ahead.
says, "And my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power, that your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of God." Okay? "Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of this world, nor of the princes of this world that come to naught." Okay? Now all the princes, all the rulers of this world, they're all dancing to the same tune. All of them claim they have no answers for you. Okay?
Yeah.
All of them are telling you, wash your hands, stay 6 feet apart. Okay, as if we didn't know to wash our hands in the first place.
Yeah, like, who do you think? I mean, what is this, kindergarten? And I'm like, wash your hands.
Right.
Barney, I love you, you love me.
Right.
And we have people, I'm like, did they do this? Did they turn everyone into little children?
Exactly.
And I'm like, I even talked to the guy, we're joking, I'm listen, I'll play the game with the mask and whatever because I got to get a screwdriver real quick.
Right.
But you best believe I'm going to breathe God's fresh air. I'm not going to sit around. Listen, it's deep because tomorrow, if Trump said that everything is fine, there'll be no mask.
Exactly. And that's the issue.
Yeah, but check it out though. We'll be talking about what the Most High say, and we'll get response back. Hey, I don't follow no man.
Right.
I don't follow man.
Exactly.
And you the guy standing in line at Walmart, 6 feet apart with the tape, your toes next to the red tape, waiting for someone to call you in. I don't follow man. When people follow in the Bible, they claim I don't follow no man.
Right.
But here it is, you looking at your mask. What I'm gonna do, the red mask or the blue mask today?
Right.
Another thing I want to pull out, and it links right into what you were saying. See, the reason why we're not confused to this, and I'm not going to let nobody put the pressure of their fear. Okay, I'm not going to let no one put the pressure of their fear and confusion of what this is, following the world, anyone on me. If you want to believe what they're saying, that's cool. But I understand the codes according to the Most High, and I'm not confused to what this is. The Bible tell us that they would work in deceit, and that what they're telling you, usually it's the reverse. Here's a code that I understand, because they're saying they're going to do this to make you safe. When you hear safe, 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 and you are a Bible man or a Bible woman, you should get, let me tell you, you should get drastically, emphatically concerned. If anyone say, I'm doing this to make you safe, you have to know the codes, brothers and sisters. You should be concerned. Why? Thessalonians 5 helps us break the code. 1 Thessalonians 5:3 reads this. For when they shall say peace and safety, I'm going to make you safe, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So if they use safe, I'm here to make you safe. It'll be you laying on a slab somewhere with your organs transferred over into Denmark or into Europe. When they say safe, let me tell you, they're thinking blood. So these are codes that the Most High told us for the righteous. When they say safety, know that they're planning destruction. It's about war. Okay? Peace is war to them. Safety is a code to them to kill more people. So you don't know the code. That's why you were confused. Well, we have to be safe. You know, they only doing this because, I mean, all of you are just so hard-headed. If y'all complied, then they will let me out. They will let me out and play. They'll let us out to play if you all just did what the teacher said. And you sitting there pouting because you're not staying in the house. Now all of us have to stay in the house. Have they turned everyone into children? Under the guise of safety? Grown folk? And let me tell you, I thought that they was going to put TSA in all these stores. After what I'm seeing, they don't need to put TSA in these stores. Mm-hmm. They done turned the employees of every corporate business that's essential into TSA employees.
That's right.
Okay? I went today to go get a socket because I blew a socket at the house. And I go to get a socket, and there's some woman that used to stack the shelves sitting there with beaming something on me. I'm like, yo, what is it? And she's over in the corner, like I'm like, what you got there? Oh no, we're just taking temperatures. I'm like, you were just stacking shelves 3 weeks ago. She's sitting there on the side beaming me, everybody that come in, taking temperatures. I'm like, yo, they don't have to put TSA is everywhere, folks. And I'm like, and then I ask, am I hot? Am I hot? And then she's looking at me like, okay, I'm not supposed to talk to you. Yeah, you know. I'm like, did they give these people a raise, or they say, listen, we laying everyone off, and unless you become TSA, you're going to be laid off also. The people at the cash registers don't even speak to people. They don't smile. There's no customer service. Nothing. And you getting beamed on the way out, one way in and one way out with all this tape around. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get what I need to get out of this place for the last time, and I'm not coming back to this crap no more. It's ridiculous. And don't come if they do open it up, if they claim, because sometimes they claim they're going to open it up, but you never can believe it. Don't come 3-4 weeks later and smile and act like you was always cool. Once the man tell you it's okay to smile and hug and be okay now with people. That's straight hypocrisy. Okay? Now, let's go through some of these calls, and then I'll bring in the elders. Elders, you have to wait. I need to get through these calls, all right? I need to get through these calls. I'm going to tell you right now, they done turned everyone into TSA folks. It's incredible how they were able to accomplish this. But we're not confused to what this is. For those who came in, of course, we're going to dial it down with the phones in a moment. Minority Report, our last report leading from last week. Part 2, the world. The world. One moment, let me get it here. I'm sorry. I have it in front of us. The world, as well as the churches, are in utter confusion. Folks. But not the people running this COVID. Everything you're seeing is exactly what they wanted to happen. And if you think this is about a cold or a flu, you got another thing coming. Another thing coming, folks. So what I'm going to do real quick, I'm just going to play this and open up the phones. One moment. 1 second. We'll play this real quick. 1 second. And we'll be right back with the phone calls. Do you know what's going on? Or are you preparing for what's going on? We are. Yes, we are. 1 moment. Be right back.
The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited.
Right. You are invited. We're going to open up the lines. Folks, the majority of people don't want to know what it is. They'd rather believe that things are going to go back like it was. And guess what? The churches, guess what? There is a stimulus package for the church, for the pastors. If you're willing to turn over the members of your church like cattle. Only way. You have to comply with the COVID package if you are a pastor to allow your institution, your church, to be used as a testing site, and eventually, you got it, an injection site. Not just vaccinations, that's just one step. Okay, so the pastors, in order for you to get some, people look at this trillions of dollars and billions of dollars in stimulus. Folks, it's all about the vaccine, and it's all about you going with the COVID line. So every pastor that take that stimulus money must open up your church for those who are supposed to depend on you for faith in Christ. You must turn over your flock to Satan. Take your 30 pieces. And also, a lot of you didn't know, folks, that what happened with Jim Jones in Guyana years ago was a CIA operation in which Jim Jones was used as a spiritual leader to lead all these people. 85% of the people were black and people of color. So what they find in their Jim Jones, what did they find out in their Jim Jones beta test? They found out that a spiritual leader can convince their flock to suicide themselves through poison. Through poison.
Right.
So now, suppose they can roll out a Jim Jones all over the earth through your pastors, your pimp prosperity pastors, and say, guess what? You take the bag and let us now poison your flock. This is going to be this is going to make Jim Jones look like a skip in the park. All over the earth. Churchgoers. That's why they say that going to church or gathering in the church will only be in the third phase. The third phase. Because they're sweating these pastors out and making it where if you don't comply, you're going to lose your building anyway. You haven't collected tithes since March, okay?
Right.
You haven't been collecting money. And if you don't give us over those people and let us poison and death kill them with these vaccines and tests, folks, you're going to lose your building. We're going to commandeer your building and there'll be no church business for you. Okay? Now that's just on one level. A lot of you don't understand that sports in itself is part of the Roman religion. It's games to the gods. So if you want to get things back, your distractions back, the way it used to be, your games, your football games, basketball games, football games, guess what? They're going to open up, listen to what you heard it here first. You heard it here first. They're going to open up their stadiums for mass testing for season ticket holders and all those who want to go, because the only way you're going to be able to go is if you are vaccinated and tested. And guess what? When they do their mass herding vaccinations and testing, the real pandemic begins. You're going to take whatever they give you in your churches, in your stadiums, back to your communities, and that's when COVID-19 is going to be exactly what they're telling you right now. People dropping like flies. And it's not going to be because of what's in the air right now. It's going to be what went past your natural defense system directly into your bloodstream. You will have the full strain COVID. And they don't care if other people refuse it. Because if they get the right number of people, they already know this, they get the right number of people vaccinated, they'll spread it to the people who are refusing already. They know that. They don't need to get everyone. They just need to get enough of them. People that gather in churches and people that go to games is enough. They've already did the numbers. You just want to be the one that don't volunteer yourself to it and be in a safe space before that stuff starts spreading all over the earth. And that's a whole nother conversation in itself. And above all, you want to clean your spirit, get right with the Most High, to be guided through the Holy Spirit, because only God, only Christ is going to get us through this. Okay? You want to put it out, put it to you just like that. Okay? They've already conditioned the people to accept it actually being a pandemic when you don't even see one. So when you start seeing people die, now you've already adjusted yourself to say, yeah, that's the COVID.
Going back to what you mentioned earlier, not to mention that the fact that people have been separated all this time, people have been in their houses, there's not that normal interaction where your body gets used to these interactions and fighting things off. Once people are introduced regularly back into the population, you can also through that expect people to be sick and certain things to happen as a chain reaction from being separated all this time.
Exactly. So this is what I'm going to do. We're going to go through the blog talk numbers, then I'm going to go through my conference call numbers. As you can see on your screen, it's showing you ways to support. Make sure you support this work, especially these broadcasts where we'll be letting you know, popping in ever so often to give you an update on what's happening and what to do according to the Most High. Right now, you don't have to be pressured into anything because the government isn't pressuring people into anything. Through fear, most people are going to volunteer themselves. So you ought to allow them to do that. Since they don't want to listen anyway, let them volunteer themselves. The government is not going to have to chase people because the majority of people who are programmed are going to acquiesce and get it anyway. You don't want to be at the front line of this stuff because there's enough people that are willing to elbow you out of the way and run in front of you just so that they can go outside. There's enough people that's willing to hold you back so that they can have life as normal. Let them go ahead and be the ones. Let them do it. Okay? Let them do it. Right? Now, let's go through the calls. We're going to start with, let's see right here. I have everything set up nice and neat. And Ramar, I'm going to come in one moment with the calls. All right? And those people, I don't hear Christians talking about grace right now. Because I don't see the government giving you any grace from Corona. You can't follow God's law, but you're running around everywhere walking around with masks. Where's your grace now? Didn't want to follow the law, eating that pork behind and everything else you've been eating out there, thinking you're sanctifying it, giving yourself high blood pressure, giving yourself all types of blood diseases, cancer. Don't you know they've been shooting these pigs with all types of poisons? And then you got these Israelites as simple as the days old saying, oh, ain't nothing wrong with a vaccine. Hold up. But you're telling people not to eat pork. Okay? But yet, in the vaccine is aborted fetuses. But you're saying it's okay to take it. Humanized pig flesh. That means a mix between human and pigs. They're using the blood of that inside vaccines. Humanized pig organs they're using in the vaccine. But you got these, well, I took a vaccine. But yet you're going to tell people it's wrong to eat. You might as well, that same Israelite who's saying it's okay to take a vaccine, you might as well go ahead and eat a whole bowl of chitlins. You'll be better off doing that. And I'm talking about pig intestines. You'll be better off eating hog maws. Okay, than getting a vaccine, because at least that's going through your natural defense and coming out of the drought. You talk about getting humanized pigs, dead babies, the fetuses of dead babies shot directly past your natural defense into your bloodstream with a strain of a disease. But yet you'll tell people, well, yeah, you can't eat bacon. Does that make any sense to you? Look at the ingredient that makes up a vaccine and tell me how it's okay to do that, but yet it's not okay to eat pork. Now, I know I don't eat pork because it's wrong according to God. But also defiling your temple is against God. If you can't eat it, you definitely can't shoot it in your veins. Okay? Come on, let's go down the line here. Let's see. Let's go here. 702 area code, and please be respectful for those who are after you. All right, 702. I'm going to try to get as many calls as I can. Are you confused concerning what this is? Okay. 702 area code. Say, I'm going to open it up. Anything you like to say. It's the floor is yours. Shalom.
How you doing?
I'm blessed by the Almighty. The floor is yours.
I'm basically going to tell you what I see in my community where I just moved. I stay in the Las Vegas projects. And as far as what I see, when I take my daughter up to the park, they give out free lunches to the kids at the school. But I notice it's all colored sisters over there, chocolate sisters. And I asked the sisters one day when I walked past last
Chocolate
week,
sisters.
Do y'all believe chocolate sister? Because I don't like using that word black. I'm confused. Like the last time I seen black is a crayon, and the last time my skin color is brown.
Okay, well get to the point, bro.
So
Let's do it.
that's
Let's
like
do it.
But I'm getting to the point. The point I asked the sisters over there. I said, do y'all believe in God? She said, yes, we Christians. Yes, I believe in God. I said, if you did, you wouldn't have on the masses right now. You know, and basically she couldn't really respond to what I said to her, couldn't answer the question. Then the other, as I got to the part, I seen another sister in the park working out with a mask on, but she have her kids in the park, and I noticed like one of her kids got on a mask, but the rest of her kids don't. And I just said something out loud like, but the government said that your eyes should be covered up too, because you can get it if your eyes is not covered. And I noticed how people out here got their face covered up, but their eyes is uncovered. So it just show you the confusion with people and how, again, how they just listen to the government.
Thank
That's
you,
all I
brother.
wanted to say. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
taking
brother.
my call, and y'all have a blessed one.
Thank you, brother. And that's a good point. You know, the brother's bringing out a good point. Next 501 area code, we're going to bring you in. Then we're going to bring in some conference calls. Hey, there's nothing more satisfying when it comes to tyranny. Why don't we just put a plastic bag over everyone's head and just get it over with? I mean, why stop at a mask? Okay, why stop there? Everybody just get plastic bags ready. 1, 2, 3, ready. The governor says put a plastic bag. Breathe. Okay. But hold up, don't die, because we need to put you on the ventilators and keep you alive long enough to get your organs. Let's see here. What's next? 352 area code.
All praise to the Most High.
You're live.
How you doing, Elder Ricard? Elder Lawyer.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yeah, I'm Shalom, brother. Yeah, me and my wife sitting here, we're kind of cracking up, man, because you're hitting the nail right on the head. This is Brother Ralph once again from the Orlando body. And I tell you, Elder, we're seeing a lot of crazy things going on with those that are not aware, not in tune with what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, just today, my wife and I had gone out and ran an errand or two, and I see individuals, and I'm sure it's all over this nation now. I see individuals riding in their own vehicles with masks on. I mean, they're protecting themselves from themselves.
Yeah.
You know, because of what the government has.
That's the ultimate keeping safe. You're in the car, all your windows there.
Yes, sir.
The heat turned up to 82 with a mask on. No one in the car but you, folks.
You know, I tell you this, elders. You know, just as it says in 1 Corinthians 3:19, for the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High. Okay?
Yeah.
For it is written, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness. Okay? We can look at what's happening right before us. You know, but me and my family, we're ready. We're prepared.
Good.
You know, everything that you've been giving us in the process of this whole corona, this whole COVID-19, whatever they want to label it, we're prepared, and we're going to stay tuned and make sure that we're doing those things that are required of us by the Most High. Okay?
Thank you, brother.
We're not afraid. We
right.
are prepared, and you guys continue to bring forth the knowledge in preparation for what's to come. Because
Praise the Most High.
we cannot deviate from this path, and we have to stand fast to this Bible. I
Thank
just
you,
wanted to bring that out, brother.
I appreciate it.
I mean, you guys are doing a great job, and keep it up, brothers. Keep it up.
All praises. And I'm going to tell you, some Satanist somewhere is having a big laugh, because I know they can't wait. It's just chopping at the bit for the summertime when people are already falling out from heat exhaustion. Mm-hmm. And I can see us in our Volkswagen buggies now, sweating bullets with a mask on, just going over guardrails and everything, just passing out, hitting walls. I'm there like, oh, this is great. Mm-hmm. This is fantastic. Mm-hmm. We're going to have people, I'm going to tell you right now, this is how deep it's going to get. Okay? We're going to have people in North Philly. That's where I come from. That's where I seen it at. in North Philly, women walking around with booty shorts on, showing all their body with a mask on. It's coming. I mean, you talk about a freak show. I mean, someone is going to be having a laugh. And guess what? The elderly need air as it is. You have the elderly passing out on the streets from heat exhaustion. Because why? You're breathing in your own air. That's carbon monoxide. It's coming. I mean, someone's having a laugh here. I'm not buying it. The Bible says when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. Every time they say peace, understand it's war, folks. Let's get the next call here. It's coming, I'm telling you. And then you have T-Bone on the corner with a mask on, and you're looking at, yeah, man, that shorty's hot. He's sitting there with a mask on, and she got a mask on. Listen,
Right.
you in Jacob's trouble, buddy. Hey, shawty, put down that mask a little bit. Let me see if you got teeth. Just straight tripping is going to be this. It's idiocracy, folks. Idiocracy we living in, and it's madness. How did the world get to this? No, everyone, the majority of this earth turned their back on God and thought that the Bible was a fairy tale. And now look, it's the only book that have answers. Someone sent me a video of the rapper DMX today. Now we all know one time DMX was flexing with Islam and all that. He's straight dealing with Christ right now. He's reading precepts and all that out of Ecclesiastes, breaking down some of the stuff we talked about a few weeks ago. The Quran doesn't have the answer. It never did. Never did. That's why we're not confused to this. We're not confused because the Bible told us of this time about this. Only those who rejected God, who thought this thing was going to go on forever like it was, are confused to this.
Right.
Because once Trump pulled the rug from up under you, you had nothing else. And another thing, you want to know what power is? You're witnessing power. If you want to understand what real power is I can say what I want to say and the whole earth will stop at once. And I'm not talking about just Donald Trump. This guy is over Donald Trump, flexing real power. We think that a basketball player who makes all this money, because these are the people we look to as powerful in our communities. Okay? We look at a basketball player. We look at a music producer and think he has power. Right. No. They only give you power to flex in your community. This is real power. Where an owner of a football team totally shut down, don't know if they'll ever open again, and say, well, who cares? I was a multi-billionaire before I picked up this hobby. A matter of fact, I'm going to donate $10 million to COVID. That's power. So in case these football players are trying to get out of line, going against politicians and all that, not realizing they should have been using their finances for this time. Living high off the hog. Let me tell you, they pulled that rug from up under all of you who believe that this world was going to go on the same forever. So that they can flex and show you what real power is. Who cares if you can sing if no one can come see you? Oh, you get your money from the concert time. You get your money from the crowds that I say can gather. Now you're seeing what real power is. They'll make us think. They make us think a music producer or someone that can lay up a basketball has power. That ain't power, folks. You're witnessing power. Someone who can shut down the whole earth and don't care if you know it's a farce. That's what power is, brothers and sisters. You're witnessing it. But guess what? There's a higher power who said this would happen. Okay? Who the ministers of this world is afraid of. And he's calling everyone right now. I'm going to tell you, it's time to restructure. Restructure your thoughts, your spirit. It's time to recalibrate and understand the God we've rejected. And come back while there's still time. Next call. 407 or 501? 501.
I think we covered.
We covered 501?
Yeah, I think you jumped to 40. I think you skipped that one.
So I go to 501?
Yes, sir. Yes,
All right,
sir.
great. 501.
Hello?
Talk to us, brother. I'll be right back, brother. You got to be on point when I come to you. 407. Let's go down the line. 314 after that. Talk to me.
Shalom and Barakatah.
Shalom. I'm about to go to the next call. We have a lot of people coming through. Talk to me, sister.
Elder, I'm here in Atlanta, and I'm working in the ICU. And the Most High told me about that, the cotton swab. I see nurses getting tested 2 and 3 times, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. But the next thing that I'm seeing right now is that the hospitals are drawing back protective equipment. So we're talking about before Corona, every time I'm throwing out masks, I'll go through a shift, a whole box. Now, they're actually taking the equipment, putting it in the nurse's office, the administration, and giving us 1 mask a shift. And they paying somebody to sterilize the mask 2 times before we would get another mask. So, and also the Corona, like right now what they're doing, we already know by looking at the x-ray what Corona looks like. And we know these people have Corona and are dying, but they're saying false negative. So they're pulling the equipment. They're making us get a false sense of security by saying these people don't have Corona. They open up the economy so we can go infect everyone.
Let me,
So,
sister,
at the
so
same time
hold
that they did
up, sister. Let me ask you a question. You work in the hospitals, right?
Yeah, I'm in the ICU.
Okay. Now, what is it? I hope this doesn't happen. But what's to stop them from any time closing the doors, quarantining the whole hospital to make sure y'all never walk out there again?
I agree that could happen, but I think what they want us to do right now, because they open up the economy, they're drawing back equipment, they want us to get infected. This is what happened at a neighboring hospital. 43 staff members came with, they were sharing masks. They've given them 1 mask a week. 43 of them came with Corona. 5 of them died. Then my friend, she was a supervisor. She threatened to quit. She threatened to walk out, and they took the whole entire floor of the hospital, put them outside in tents in an undisclosed area, and they cleared all the Corona patients. So I think right now they want us to infect people. They want us to get infected and die to hurry up.
Okay. I have a greater question. I have a better question. How much more they have to do against you for you to realize enough is enough? If it's not enough already.
The Most High is telling me it's time to get out of there.
No, I'm asking.
Yes, sir.
I'm asking, and I don't mean to be facetious here, but if here it is, they're telling all of us out here to make sure we have our masks, stay clean, and all that. The hospital has always been known as one of the most sterile places on earth, and now they're telling people that works in the ICU, nah, just put on the mask. No telling what type of snot and stuff coming out of other people's orifices or whatever the case is, and now they're telling you to share masks. So are they sending a message to you? What message are they sending to you all? Because eventually we all know that the foreign troops and others will be in the United States in these institutions with the mask on, and none of us will know the difference. So What
Right, Elder. I've seen
what
the,
message are
I've
they
seen
sending to you? Come on.
I've seen the military in our hospital.
You seen
Yes,
what?
sir. They actually, the hospital's empty, and they expanded the emergency room. It looks like disaster nursing. They have a red zone, a blue zone. So they kind of like are preparing for the next wave already. They
Hold
blocked
up,
off the
but
lobby.
you
Turned
you
the
missed
lobby.
something. You said that you've seen military in your hospital.
Yeah, they came. Like one day I came to work and there was like a whole bunch of people in military uniforms.
Go on. I'll let you end it out. Say what you have to say. Because what do people
Oh,
need?
I just think
what do people what do the people you think need to hear out there based on your observations?
Continue to listen to the elders, continue to stay in prayer, use wisdom, don't go out there just yet, don't get the surveillance, because in the charts we are seeing they're not calling them patients, they're calling them people under surveillance. So they are going to surveil you, they are going to come, like you exactly said. So they want to come and they want to, like you said, put you somewhere under lock and key, under quarantine, and they're now volunteering to come out and check your antibodies. I'm not doing that. I'm not inviting nobody to my home. I'm not giving my blood to anyone. And I just thank you guys because the Most High is telling you everything in real time what we need to know.
Well, one thing you would probably want to do is make sure that you have your own type of scenario as far as your phones to be able to record and to understand, make sure everything you do, you understand it's documented. Okay, because Satan like to operate under the veil of darkness. So what you have to do as much as you can is to make, and this is why they've administered this thing with masks, so that people can do things to you and you have no idea who's actually behind the mask doing it to you. So it's best to still use the phone or any type of surveillance material we have as a form of defense to let other people know what's going on in real time. Now, I know you probably can't do that at the hospital system, but I'm talking about in your home. Do as much as you can in conversation with authorities and others to highlight what's going on so others can prepare and understand also. Okay?
Con.
All right. Are you in the bar? All right. All right, let me put her on hold. Elder Gaja, you there? Elder Gaja, are you in the house? I thought he was. Is he? Yeah, he's there. I guess he's... All right, anytime you're ready, Gaja, just come on. I'm waiting for you, okay? All right, let me bring someone from the conference line real quick. Okay, I'm on the conference line. Elder Ramar, I'm on the conference line. I don't hear Gotcha.
You not hear me? Hello?
Oh, I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, I'll come back on the conference line in a moment. All right, go on, Gotcha. You want anything to say before I open up the other lines?
Yeah, just a quick two things. Man, deep going on here. I sent you a link. That came off Israel Times today. Times of Israel today. Link. I don't know if you've seen it.
Let's see. I'll pull up the link.
Also sent you another link on
Oh yeah, I have that link. The Rockefeller Foundation breaking down the COVID-19, the whole component of that. I have this already.
Check the link on top of that. It says Russia urges Iran not to give in to the U.S. That came in today.
Okay, this is the Israel Times news that they're not talking about because for some reason the only deaths in the Western world or America is COVID. Nothing else matters but COVID. So no other news matters but COVID either. So nothing else is happening in the world. But let's see what's going on in the Times of Israel, the State of Israel news. Russia urges Iran not to give in to the U.S. provocations. Okay, it says Iran must not give in to the U.S. provocations. Russia said on Wednesday following months of mounting tension between Washington and Tehran. We are urging maximum restraint and caution not to give in to the provocations and aggressive rhetoric Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova told reporters. Tehran and Washington have traded barbs over a spate of incidents in the past year involving their forces in the sensitive waters of the Persian Gulf. The latest high seas confrontation came on April 15th, when the United States said 11 Iranian boats harassed its Navy ships in what is described as the international waters of the Arabian Gulf. U.S. President Donald Trump tweeted that he had ordered the U.S. Navy to shoot down and destroy any of all Iranian gunboats if they harass our ships at sea. Now, anybody believe that he's putting his real thoughts and all that and real plans on a tweet, you got something else coming. Even if you believe that's him tweeting. All right. It says Iran's president replied on Wednesday that the Americans should know that the Gulf is called the Persian Gulf and the New York Gulf of the Washington Gulf, or the Washington Gulf. Zakharova stressed that both countries should set in strict accordance with international norms and regulations. Moscow has always considered stability and security in the Gulf to be a key factor that influences the situation in the wider regional context, she added. Okay, what you have to say on that? Gotcha.
Well, just with it is that all news pointing to COVID, but America is posturing for war. If you notice, Elder, that I don't know if I'd sent you the link, but there's warships going in on Venezuela, and there's warships right now going in on Iran. And when you look at it, really, Venezuela is non-compliant with this COVID madness, and also Iran to some degree not compliant with what the narrative is going from the Western media. So whilst we are here worried about the invisible disease, the war is being raged, and this is so many things going on that we are like you said, while the deputizing the Walmart and the gas station clerks, you with me, to protect you from COVID-19, they're raging war out there, and nobody is talking about it. Nobody is even aware of it. So for me, it's very indicative. It's very indicative of the times that we're in. And like you said, the beast is fully grown, and is flexing every bit of muscle and power it has, showing that listen, look what I can do, the miracles I can do, and the blasphemy I will speak against the Most High. So everything, and even that sister that just came on just then when she was saying that what going on in the hospitals, and the question you asked, okay, how much is enough? Because if I'm somewhere right now and I'm seeing that, listen, this look like you're trying to kill me, I'm bouncing, I'm leaving. You understand? And this is where it's at. I don't know how many people are looking at it and seeing it that listen, they're killing off a lot of people. They're gonna go after a lot of people, especially the elderly, especially with these so-called ventilators. You understand? These ventilators are pumping poison into your lungs.
Yeah, pneumonia, giving pneumonia side effects and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But go on.
So how much is going to be enough? You with me? How much is gonna be enough? Your farms are being shut down like slowly. Sooner or later, we have to get into a position right now where we're at least growing some food, at least making some preparations like that while we can still move. Because, like I said, how much is going to be enough? Or when is the light gonna switch on? Are we gonna wait until, like you said, the government goes, okay, then there's no more corona? Or are we gonna wait until, something, you remember when we had a curfew? It wasn't that bad. You with me? When is it going to be? So
listen, what I hope that happens in all this, because the Most High said we would go through these times. What I hope that comes out of this more so than anything is not what they're doing, because we already said a long time ago this was deeper than Russia, it was Iran. What I'm hoping is that brothers and sisters at this time begin to come back to the Most High and understand the power of prayer. Because it seems we forget God until we need him. You understand?
True.
It seems as if he's like, way on the end of the pecking order. Our jobs is before him. The security that we have accumulated for ourselves is before him. Our careers is before him. So it seems as if we forget God or forget he exists until times like now in which we need him. And this is what the Most High is saying now. And he's looking at Israel now, going through Jacob's trouble and what's being planned and saying, well, okay, I've been here the whole time. I didn't change. I'm the same God who delivered you out of Egypt. When you're going to look at me, or you're going to wait for someone to tell you that things are going to go back to normal. Okay? Because if you're thinking things are going to go back to normal, you haven't been reading the Bible. You haven't learned of me yet. That's what the Most High is showing. Because he says it's going to be like what? A woman in travail to have birth. And as you get closer to the birth, there's more pains and contractions. It doesn't get easier. It doesn't ease up. There's no spiritual epidural. Okay? So if you're sitting back in hopes of things going backward, you haven't been reading the Bible. Jacob's trouble, as we come closer to the end, things gets worse. The contractions, the pain get worse up until the time until the baby's born. And we haven't been born as a nation yet. So all of you sitting back, and that's what Satan wants you to do. He wants you to look at your wall and just think that things will go back to normal as Satan press upon you. And without you using this time to connect with the Most High and be guided in securing your spirit to trust him, you're gonna get rolled over. Let me tell you, while we're sitting still, you think they're sitting still? Something is going on. There's a lot of activity happening at night while you're sleeping. So the Most High is sitting back saying, okay, you're going to need me. You better connect now. You're going to need me. Open up that book, read it, and understand that I told you, I sent prophets, I sent teachers the whole time letting you know it was coming. And you was looking at us saying, hey, this happened every ever so years. In history, all these things repeat itself. All these things happen back at this time. When have you ever seen anything like this on earth, where the whole earth is under one order at one time, in total agreement to shut down? No time in the history of the earth have you seen a day like we're living in right now. But go ahead, you have the last word. I'm going to open these lines. Come on.
So I'll come back in afterwards. I'm put back on mute.
Okay, thank you, my brother. Anything other lawyer? I see you pulling some stuff out there.
Yes, sir. Just reading 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse number 37 through 39.
Come on.
Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. As when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, within 2 or 3 hours of her birth great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. Basically, as you were just stating, the closer we get to the birth, the more the pains will come.
Exactly.
And we're seeing those pains being introduced little by little.
Exactly. And I'm going to tell you, brothers and sisters, weeks ago I went into the scriptures in Ecclesiastes when it says there's a time for everything under heaven. You may notice a change even as we progress in this ministry. Okay? Not that we're different, but there's a certain level of urgency in which we can no longer tolerate foolishness. It ain't not that time for that. So you're going to see a change. It's not going to be as liberal or easygoing and all that, because it's going to come a time in which when a direction comes through the Spirit, it's not going to be no, well, you can do this if you like, or if you feel, or if you're comfortable with it. It's going to be what it is, because I'm going to make the choice to do it, and it's up to you. Okay? We're living in a different time now. There's not no time to be, well, I hope you can see what's being said. Let me hold your hand and have you feel good about what we're saying until you come around and be able to understand what God said. You used to be more patient and understanding. Listen, if you want someone to treat you like a child, go look up COVID-19 report, and they're doing it right now. ABC News is giving it to you on YouTube. Okay? Go to your briefings of your governor if you want someone to treat you like a child. You've seen a change in the ministry because things are changing. And it's going to come a time where instead of us coming here every week, we're going to come once a week because we have to do preparing. And then it's going to be, instead of once a week, once a month. And then it's going to be whenever we can come to you because we have to do things. It's time to toughen up, brothers and sisters, and understand we are under the gun. According to the Bible, we are living in Jacob's trouble. So you're going to have to man up. All this, I wonder what's going on with the phone calls. And listen, you don't understand what time we're in. To some, this is a luxury. To others, it's entertainment. But to us, it's our lives. Okay, this is what the Most High said. And you're going to have to adjust yourself as the time draws near. Okay? We're not going to coddle people and give you a little blankie and tuck you in to say, okay, you want to go with us and learn with us? It's like, I'm saying, listen, the least people that don't want to listen, the better. Okay? This ain't no time to try to convince someone the time we're in. And everyone is walking around here with masks being weaponized against one another. You can't even hug your own family. You don't see the time we're in? Okay, there's a certain level of urgency that must be put out there also, where the games are minimized. Let me go down. Let me open up the call. Okay, let me open up the call for the Elder Ramar.
Hold on one second. Yes, sir. We got Stefan from California.
Stefan from California, come on in. Come on, Stefan.
Hey, Shalom, notice how you guys doing?
We blessed by the Almighty. Talk to us.
Oh yeah, I was just, man, I'm kind of out of breath. I was hoping my father-in-law did some yard work, but yeah, I just wanted to say, kind of on what you guys were just kind of touching on, but I'm seeing it just like this is the time where basically the Most High is giving us another opportunity to just get some oil to fill our lamps with. Because I'm gonna tell you like one thing, Elder, like I've been with this church for about 5 years, and within the last year or so, I haven't been gathering. And I remember all those teachings, and I mean I've pretty much seen every video, but I remember all those teachings where you always say, like, this is gonna happen and that's gonna happen. And it seems like we have like forever. Like it seems like, man, we have all the time in the world. But then when this coronavirus thing happened, it was just like you look up and one day in a split second, it's just like everything is just right on you. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like an eye opener for me. And I thank the Most High that even through me like going back into the world, Elder, like and just doing things that I know better. I mean, I've seen all the videos, so I know better. But for some reason, it goes from not gathering for 1 week, and then the next week not going to the gathering, and then that week, 2 weeks turn into like a year, and then I can see the following when I'm by myself, and I've heard you mention that before. Like when you're by yourself, then he comes in, and it's like you don't have that, that brother what do you call that? You don't have that brothership or the of the gathering to keep you on point. So it was like I seen him coming in and just taking me further and further away. And then once this coronavirus thing happened, like I already knew what time it was. And then what I said to myself, it was just like the fear that I had was a fear of not even of what the government can do, so to speak, but it was more so because I knew that I wasn't right with the Most High. And the one thing that I said to myself is I was like, I don't ever want to have this feeling like ever again. So I'm just saying that to say to all the brothers and sisters who is listening, like it's time that we really have to get this oil for our lamps while we have time and to get us to the kingdom. Because pretty soon, like, you always taught that time is going to happen in a split second, and then we're not going to have that opportunity to go get no more oil. So we have to do that while we still have the time. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say.
Well, thank you, brother. Thank you. And I'm glad you're back. And may the Most High be with you, man. Just fill up what you can. All right?
Absolutely.
Bless you, brother. Let's bring in the next call. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I wish I had the luxury to just chill for a year and come back and be like, well, it's still happening. Right. So I thank the Most High for the grace that people are able to actually, they heard it to a degree in which they know to come home. I thank the Most High for that, but we don't have that luxury. I don't have a luxury to say, you know what, yeah, I'm out. I'm checking out for a year. Because why? A workman is worthy of his hire. And the Lord says, listen, whoever pick up the plow and put it down isn't worthy of my kingdom. So I'm glad that we, through the Spirit of the Most High, and whether you love us, hate us, whatever the case is, one thing you can't say throughout all of it, and we've prophesied even before you two, you can't say that we've ever put down the plow. Ever. All praises be to the Almighty. And if it be if Most High's will, we'll see it to the end. The next call. Next call, Ramar.
Marcus from Ohio.
Marcus from Ohio. We're only going to go another 30 minutes, and then we're going to wish you all Godspeed. I may pop in again Friday. We're only going to go another 30 minutes, and then we'll be done for this segment. But hopefully this will keep you until we come back. Let's go.
Marcus, hello?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, shalom.
Shalom, Elder. Shalom, family. How y'all doing today? I am calling because just seeing everything that's been going down in the past month and a half, which has probably been like the longest month I've ever lived in my life. It's really interesting seeing how many pins they knocked down with one ball. It's like seeing the aftermath of everything from the economy getting worse to demonizing China to preparing people for the mark of the beast. It's just really interesting seeing how everything is starting to, I guess, like a snowball effect from everything that happened just from shutting down the country. And I've been seeing a lot of strange things like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. Just seeing a lot of things that's happening like I've been hearing a lot of police sirens going on, but I don't really see a lot of cop cars and things like ambulances start in, and you'll hear the sirens, and then they'll drive down the street, and then you just don't see them anymore. So it's really, really strange watching everything go down.
Hey, brother, you just stay safe. Next time you come in, please give us your location so that others can verify, and so we can talk further on it based on it could be a concern for your specific location that others need to hear. Okay, so when you come on, make sure you state your location, your name and location. Thank you, brother. Let's put him on hold real quick, Mark. Bless you. I'm going to tell you, man, it's deep, right? Because I'm looking at this, folks, and I'm hearing, man, people are getting killed. People are doing this. People are doing that. And I asked Lawyer before the program came on, has our life changed too much since this COVID thing? Absolutely not, because we We were working on faith before this. The gatherings that people mostly go to in this earth is wicked and evil anyway, so it really doesn't affect. The real parties happen on Friday night. So we've been out of the loop. If there's a good game, if it's on TV, okay, but we don't go to the basketball, sports, and all this other stuff anyway. So people are all like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. I'm like, what have you been seeing? You know what it is? Operating within it the whole time. Operating in it, you can't see that nothing really changed. They've been killing us without a cause. They've been killing us in the hospitals. They've been grabbing us off the street doing things that have no business. Now they have a name for it. Now they can just hide their destruction against us, their hatred and killing systems against us under COVID. But I don't see nothing different. They've been killing us in the hospitals, folks. They've been convincing our families to allow them to put our families down. The hospital's been giving us surgeries we really didn't need. They've been killing us through chemotherapy. Bad food. The true reckoning is happening now, is that now the other nations are seeing it and it's happening to them. And now more so they can understand what we've been going through the whole time. Because Satan isn't racist. Right out. He wants everyone dead. He don't care what your color is. This is more of a wake-up call for the nations who thought this would go on forever. Because now they're losing like we've always been losing. Okay? That's what's really going on here. People said, oh my God, they've been, and guess what? They've been doing strange stuff in the hospitals and the nurses know it. If you've been working in the hospitals, you know they've been doing some crap they have no business. But it didn't affect none of us personally. We can go home, cash our check, and allow it, live to let live. Listen, that ain't none of my business. People, you have malpractice insurance to sue them. That's their business. It's about my family. But no, if you sit back and see a sin and allow it to happen unchallenged, eventually you become complicit to it. You just can't compartmentalize and separate yourself from wickedness. If you are a part of it, you are a part of it. Oh, and if you take the bag for it, that's even worse. Well, I have a job and that's why. Oh no. Guess what? With every payment comes a price. And usually it comes through a compromise of your morality. They'll give you the money if you're willing to compromise part of your soul for it. So it comes a time where you got to say, you know what? I'm with the Most High. If he don't have me, no one got me. But I'm not going to take a bag and take some money if it means something immoral, death, and destruction to my own people. I'd rather be without than to be complicit with killing my own. It comes a time. I only got a few more calls. Who we have next? Because I can open up for calls anytime during the week. All right. I'm going to sit down and have a nice dinner tonight. Because why? I'm going to tell you again. This haven't affected me like that because we've been took a step out on faith while everyone thought the world was going to happen and going all over the place and thinking that their careers were going to go on forever and all that. We've been took a step out and only depended on the Most High. So this is not normal for me because when you can see it from an outside view, they've always been killing us, folks. You were just too busy to see it. They just have a name for it now. So it's time to get it together now, brothers and sisters. It really is. Okay, what's the next call? Ramar.
From Illinois, we have Kamisha.
Kamisha. And the pastors, man, let me tell you, folks, it's time for these pastors to come right out and say, we apologize. We're sorry. We were deceived.
Hello, Elder Wakar. I
am so honored and pleased to be able to get through on the line on tonight. I won't take up too much time. I just wanted to say how grateful and thankful that my family and I both are for DOCC.
Praise the Most
High.
High.
Following you for about 4 years now. The Most High God called me 1 month after my 40th birthday. I'm 48 years old now, and I just thank Him for understanding, for wisdom and knowledge. And I'm just very grateful in during this time. I'm not confused. I'm not scared. I'm just holding on to, His word, holding on to GOCC, what you guys say. And I'm just grateful. Amen.
Well, thank you, sister. And you know what? And we appreciate all your support, and we're thankful that you are a part of this work. And sister, never give up hope. We're here, okay? And we'll be here. Never give up hope. Just never step back from the challenge, which is life itself, and gather with the elect and help us finish this. Because at the end of the day, we are all we have, okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you, sister.
You're welcome.
All right. Let's get the next call, and then I'm going back to Blog Talk. And thank you for your support, all your support. We do appreciate it, brothers and sisters. We do. Okay, but it's time to get serious, and it's time to step up. This is Jacob's trouble. Okay? When I sat back and look at some woman in the side of her chair with this little device beaming on me, and she was just stacking the shelves at Home Depot the other day, that thing got real. I'm like, okay. They have deputized everyone and made everyone a TSA agent. They have convinced all the people within your communities that any of you can be an enemy at any time called COVID. And the world is going along with it. So I'm like, you know what? It's time for the next phase in this. Because really, the government is not going to roll over people initially. He's going to allow the population to kill each other off through distrust first. And then they're going to come in with the tanks and roll over you. That's how it works. That's how it works. So how do you combat this? You combat hatred with love. That's how you do it. Every opportunity that presents itself out there amongst the world, you have to show some level of humanity to people who've been programmed into believing this stuff is real. Every opportunity you can, you have to inject the spirit of love and kindness so that you can bring people back to reality. Every opportunity. Just like the woman was shining her thing. I'm like, what you got there? What you have? And she's looking at me. She's looking at me like she just got sworn in as a head sergeant, over the National Guard. And I'm like, I know you just punched in and put on the orange robe. And she's sitting there just shining, looking her mask. And I'm like, hey, how are you? What you got there? And she's looking at me. And I can see her smile a little bit through her mask because I'm not playing the game, okay? What you got there? What you taking temperatures? I says, we just getting a count. I'm like, no, that's a temperature taker. How you taking temperatures, huh? Hey, what degrees am I? Do I have a fever? How do I feel? And she said, go ahead, boy, just go ahead inside. And she started laughing. Because I had to jog some reality into it through a little satire and show some humanity. Because these people are starting to believe this stuff. They start to believe that they can actually work as a TSA under Home Depot wages. Like, at least give me a raise up in this piece. So it's up to those who can see. It's time for you to inject humanity and love and caring every place you go. Okay, and I did it on the way in, and I did it on the way out. A guy with a limp, he's sitting there with it. I'm like, dude, come on, man. If I had a fever, what would you do? I'm like, come on, man. Snap out of it.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. What do they do when they find out that your temperature is right? What's the next step? after taking your temperature.
Well, I believe these these essential places, they're data gathering right now. I think this stuff is going into one database. We had to shut everything down, set these specific places so they can get the data they need based on these controlled areas. The same way all of these bloviated, inflated numbers are coming from choice hospitals.
Right.
And they like, you want numbers? I can give you 1 million numbers. I can give you 1 million deaths. What you want, a COVID death? I can give you that because I'm in charge of what they put on the death certificates. Matter of fact, 1 million. Hey, let's make it 2 million dead. Let's not stop there. Everything come up in this hospital is COVID. How about that? Right. So they have these controlled institutions to get the numbers. The same thing with Walmart and everything else. That's why they close everything else down, because they needed data based on percentages. How many people walk in on a regular basis throughout the population? Because if everyone can only go through a few stores, you can get the percentage numbers or the data you need to make a decision on the rest of the world. Because everyone must go to Home Depot, everyone must go to Walmart, and now I can get the percentages, and that data will now have me understand how I can apply that to the rest of the population within that country. That's all it is, data gathering. I understand what they're doing. The real rollout is going to come when they open up these churches and these simple preachers take the bag and get their congregation shot up or tested. That's going to be an issue, because God is going to have a problem with that, buddy. You're going to burn in hell if you allow your people to go through that. Okay? You're going to burn in hell. And that because you have a higher responsibility outside of politics. And keep in mind, even the government told you, well, there's a separation between church and state. They're not supposed to infringe anything politically or otherwise against a religious institution. And you are supposed to stand on that if there's a separation. But if you take the bag, there is no separation. You become Judas. You are a killer. You are a murderer. The government told you there's a separation. But if you take the COVID bag, now you've taken the separation out of the way. Instead of standing on faith, you're standing on the money the government is giving you. And now you've given your people over for Judas's 30 pieces under the guise of a COVID stimulus check. So I can understand the government doing what they're doing, but you pastors have a responsibility to the flock to protect them. That's going to be the biggest issue with God. When you pork chop eating preachers under grace get all your members killed for a church you can't hold on to anyway. There ain't nobody coming to your churches anymore. But now, since they've been holding people and starving people from going out, you know the next time they let churches open, that you're not going to have room to hold them, and you know it. And at that time, the disease is going to run rampant in our neighborhood because they're going to get it from your churches by you allowing the institutions in to actually shoot stuff in them, test them, and give them COVID to take home to their neighborhoods. And that's when it gets real. One more call, and then I only got a few more minutes. We're only 7 minutes away, really. All right, a few more calls, and then we have to parlay this to the next time we have a broadcast. Probably out coming early Friday. Come on, next one more call, Elder Ramar.
From Rhode Island, we have Emmanuel.
Rhode Island, we have Emmanuel. Talk to us. Come on in, Emmanuel.
Hello?
Amanda, how are you, Amanda?
Hi, sorry he had to step out for a little bit, but we're just trying to find the body to get baptized.
Okay, well, Ramar, take down her number and find out her location, and we'll deal with it on that. We'll deal with her separately on that. All right?
Got it.
Let me go over to Blog Talk real quick and grab a few before we check out for this evening. All right? Um, 314 area code. And after that, 613. Shalom, you're live with the Gathering of Christ Church.
Hello?
You're live with the Gathering of Christ Church. Talk to me.
Oh, Shalom. I didn't know you could hear me. Well, I'll praise to the Most High. This is Tara in Dallas. Just really quick, I sent you all a link, a couple of links actually that I wanted to share with you. I work for an insurance company, and there's two sides to this coin. The first piece is that we just rolled out an initiative, part of the stimulus money, that's going to go to doctors who are treating uninsured patients under COVID-19. And just really quick, I sent you all a link for this, and anybody can go to it, but it says, for services rendered to treatment to be eligible for reimbursement, claims submitted must meet the following criteria. I want to point out one thing. The COVID-19 diagnosis code must be the primary diagnosis code submitted. The only exception is if you're pregnant. Now, why this is important is because anybody who is uninsured, if they're testing or treating, whether they know it's COVID or not, because it takes at least 3 weeks for them to get that, get that information back, in terms of whether or not you actually had it or not. But in order for these providers to get paid, they have to put COVID-19 as the primary diagnosis. So when you say how are they going to get the numbers, this is how they're going to do it. What demographic of people are uninsured?
Exactly.
Now, this hasn't even come out yet. This hasn't even rolled out yet. They just put it out on the 27th. It will not go live until May 6th. Okay, and I really don't care if somebody's listening and I kind of get called on the carpet because this is public. You can go on to the HRSA.gov website and you can look this up. I'm telling you what I know. I've been tapped to be on this special project. We were in training for it today, Elder. This is brand new. It hasn't even come out live yet. But the point is, in order for the doctors to even get paid, they have to say that these uninsured people are C19 positive. Now, that's on this side of the coin. A few weeks ago, on the other side of the coin, I shared on the Friday night blog talk with Elder Ramar, the other side is that we are telling doctors who treat insured patients. Now, if they are dealing with people with insurance, tell the doctors that they have to use whatever the person came in to the office with. So the comorbidities that they may have, high blood pressure, diabetes, COPD, whatever those issues are, that's what has to be on the claim for them to get paid. Why? Because we will pay those claims according to their benefits. So if you have a copay, if you have what is it called, a deductible, co-insurance, or anything like that, it's going to go towards that. Because you can't put COVID-19 on those claims because you haven't gotten the results to the test back yet. And I sent you the link, also public as well, but I sent you the link so that you can listen to the 1.5, it's like 1 minute and 40 seconds, where the top brass in the company is telling the providers, this is how you have to submit those claims if the person has insurance. But however, if they don't have insurance, you have to put COVID-19 on it. Again, do the math. Who has insurance, who doesn't?
Our people don't have the insurance system. And think about this. And Barack Obama then actually teed it up with Obamacare. Because now we know, for instance, who don't have insurance. All those who applied for Obamacare under Obama. Sister, so another thing I wanted to ask you on this, Rick, because what you're saying with this, they're actually going to be able to inflate the numbers even more as COVID cases with this. They're just going to make these COVID cases, and then the news is going to report, oh man, this thing is really taking over America. Oh my God, they're dying in the streets. These are inflated COVID numbers that are being created. And you know what? They're paying for the numbers. Because as long as these numbers are on the record, then now they have the excuse to keep the earth and America under what you would call under a medical emergency through a pandemic. You have to have the numbers for it to be deemed a pandemic. So being that people aren't really dying like that, and they're dying of natural things, now they're paying the healthcare practitioners and all these different services to actually say it's COVID under these circumstances to receive money. So every doctor's office now, who've already been incentivized through the pharmaceuticals now, are going to take the bag like they've been taking, and they're just going to say, well, listen, I'm going to do what they say. They say it's COVID, it's COVID. That's the only thing they're throwing money at right now. Right? That's the only thing they're throwing money. And my bills have to be paid. My mortgage has to be paid. My kids have to, I have debt. These doctors, man, you have to realize they have debt, in 6-figure debt going to school. Their hands are tied. They're like, listen, you're going to throw some COVID money at me? I'll say it's COVID. But as long as they inflate these numbers, there's no reason for the governments to actually take their foot off the pedal. Because they got the numbers to keep the martial law in place. Go on, I'm listening.
Oh, absolutely. And I just wanted to, two last little pieces on that. One, as we know, the majority of the people who are uninsured are so-called minorities. They're Israel for the most part.
Yeah.
And so, of course, not only do you get to inflate the numbers, but you also get to put a face and a race to it as well. You have a particular demographic that you can now point to as the culprits and the major carriers of the disease. So there's that piece. Now, what was kind of interesting, one other part is that one of the major companies, and I would give too much away if I said exactly which one, but it's a large one that likes fruit. But they actually have it to where if you call and self-identify and say, oh, the reason I went and had that service done was because of COVID-19, they'll pay for it. They'll pay for it under COVID-19 without even blinking at that. Also helps to inflate the numbers as well, because these people are thinking, hey, I got to come up. That way, even though I went to the doctor for something totally unrelated, if I call and just say it was COVID, it's going to be marked and it's going to get paid for by the insurance.
Oh, my good sister. This is deep in itself, because one thing I've learned, even growing up in the hood, is there's nothing like a free come up.
Mm-hmm.
How many times cats said that they're feeling neck pain over a fender bender, that they know there was no pain, and you would go there and you would go to and not only that, we've compromised our morality so much, even in those cases, so that we can sue and get a quick 15 to 20,000 over a car case. Or people who know they love to smoke weed and go to the doctor and say they got some type of psychological issue or medical issue, so that they can get a medical marijuana license to get high.
Right.
And now all they got to do is, I'll give you a check, I'll give you some finances, just come in, but you have to say it's COVID. And you know our people, we're going there, we're act sick, and we're going there limping and all that. If they say there's a bag in there. So we don't even know by us doing this, we're actually hammering the nails in our own coffin if we volunteer as COVID, because they want us to be the face of COVID. And I can see it now. People calling their sister, their aunt, their cousin, and you got to go down there. They're giving out free money. Just say COVID. Everybody got COVID anyway. And next thing you know, there's going to be a yellow caution sign. Not around your house. Around the whole community, there will be a caution sign. Do not enter. That's COVID. Black people, Latino people, do not enter. No trucks can come in. Nothing can come in but the National Guard, because there's the face of COVID. Black people. Because you went down there for a few dollars. And see, that's the worst part about socialism. You have people where they're used to receiving things for nothing. They believe it comes out of the air. When you teach that type of behavior, these people, our people, is at the behest of a satanic government now who's looking to stomp them out. I'm going to tell you, it's going to be us. We're going to volunteer it. And it's going to be those pastors, I'm telling you. I know y'all got y'all COVID checks. We need to pass this one more time. I feel Jesus in these COVID checks. That's what's coming. I know what y'all got. Let's go around. Deacon, let's go around one more time. Let's go around one more time. I know. Hey, I know what y'all got. I got it too. Huh. That's what's going to happen, folks. Thank you, sister. I'm going to call you. I'm going to take your phone number now because I need some information on it.
Yes, please, because I also have something else very interesting for you that I know you're going to like that. Please, please, please call me. And I just have one last question for you, Elder.
Yeah.
What you always doing at Home Depot, man?
What's that?
So what you always doing at Home Depot?
No, because you have to realize, I like to deal with you have to understand, if you stay in your home and believe what you're being told, that's actually a form of solitary confinement. And eventually it'll play on you and you will begin to believe what you're hearing, and it will affect your behavior. So if there's only one place open, I'm going to go there every day.
It's the only thing open.
Because I need to know what's going on the outside of everything. I'm like, listen, let me go get me a battery. Let me go get me a screwdriver. Okay? I'm going to find out what's going on the outside of my house, because one day it's going to be something different. For the rest of our life, and it's not going to surprise me. I'm going to know what's coming at me. Because I've been out there. Okay? Getting my essentials.
A lot for your time.
You got a number?
Again, please do call me, because I've got something for you. You're going to want this. You're really going to want this.
Yeah. I'm going to give it. I need your information system. I'll probably bring you back on Friday. All right. Let me put it on hold here. I appreciate you. I'm going to take one more call because I really got to have to eat dinner. Matter of fact, I probably can. I'm going to take one more call and that's it. I'm sorry. We'll open it up for more hours later, but I really have to put this out there because this is some important information here. I really have to put this information out there. One moment. Yeah, go ahead real quick. All right. There's some information I have to put out there. One moment here. One moment, I have to put this information out there, and then I'll just open up later at another time. Hold on. Y'all have to see this. Okay. Now I'll take one more call and then I have to go after that. What do we have here, you might ask? The Washington Times. What do we have here? I need y'all to see this, brothers and sisters, because y'all think I be making these things up. Now, COVID is so bad that no one can actually hug or be around their loved ones. All right? But I don't think the authorities fear COVID that much. Why? Because they're willing to set an initiative to do this. Georgia kicks off chilling door-to-door COVID-19 blood collections. Oh, you know, she's going to love that blood. Look. Ah, blood. COVID blood. I can rinse in it. I can love the COVID blood. Georgia kicks off chilling door-to-door COVID-19 blood collections. I thought you feared going around people. This is now, what is this, folks? You got it. You got it. This is the Washington Post. Analysis. Let the government press corona's tide blood collections of citizens begin. And begin they have. Where? In Georgia. Where the CDC is. They have in Georgia, at least where the state's Department of Public Health recently announced, in cooperation with both Fulton County and DeKalb counties, boards of health to learn more about the spread of COVID-19 amongst you black folk. Okay. All right. I tell you what. I wonder what I wonder if the housewives of Atlanta, I wonder if they're going to volunteer first. Here it is. To learn more about the spread of COVID-19, an investigation has commenced. It's an investigation that's leading government officials to make random stops at randomly selected residences and ask random citizens for, get this, their blood. See? We need that blood. We need to see if you can match someone that's almost on his deathbed. There's some rich crony somewhere over in Europe. Let's see if we can match you up. Maybe we can get that lung or that kidney out of you. Citizens' DNA in the hands of unselected government officials. What could go wrong there? Specifically, Georgia's health wonks want to know the percentage of people in the community who have been infected with the virus that causes COVID-19. So now they want the virus that causes COVID-19 now, folks. You cannot make this up. It's not COVID-19. We need to find the virus that causes COVID-19. The same hack job, the demon that came with the lie that there's a connection between HIV and AIDS, Fauci, is the same guy, the health defense minister, that's talking about the COVID-19 and is connected to the Wuhan, China conspiracy. He's the same guy who says, oh yeah, HIV causes AIDS, so I can give you that nasty chemotherapy pill, AZT, and kill you black people. Blacks became the face of AIDS. So it's not about COVID-19. Look at the stories now. There's a gene or something that causes COVID-19. And could that be from the vaccines they shot in you already that compromise your genetic code? While they sent placebos of the same vaccine to other well-to-do communities and shot the other children with just saline while our children getting jacked up and brain murdered, if there's any such term. Here it comes, folks. Jacob's trouble. I told you we would become the face of it. The first week when they were talking about it being in Wuhan, China. Before there was one case in America, I said that's bait and switch. That has nothing to do with Chinese people. At the end of it, the children of Israel who scattered throughout this earth, who's a part of this awakening, God's chosen, will be the face of it because that's the target according to prophecy. The question is, what are we going to do? And you Gentiles, you have to get it together and come to the knowledge of the Most High also. Why? Because they're not just going to get to us, they're going to roll over you too. Keep in mind, Satan isn't racist. He has a problem with all of humanity, all of God's children he has a problem with. So I know that you're going to be like, well, okay, if I can just wait it out and let them just get them little blacks, it'll be okay for me. No, it's not. Satan's going to stomp you out too. Okay? And then you got simpletons out there still talking about the white man, the white man, the white man, the white man. You're simple as a day's old. Okay? There's white devils and there's black devils. Okay? We can't focus on, how do you fix this problem? It's the white man. How do you fix that problem? You can't fix that problem. Okay? Because the white people are going to be in charge. Why? Because God put them in charge. They eat them. They're the Roman Empire. They're going to be in charge. You can't fix that problem. You need to fix your problem. Another thing. When Solomon went off, just went over this last week. When King Solomon went off and started dealing with the other gods of the nations, the Most High stirred up an Edomite by the name of Hadad against Solomon and started jacking him up. Okay? This is how the kingdom eventually split in two. You think Solomon was sitting there after all the wickedness he did and said, you know what? It's the white man's problem. When God put him in that position to chastise the wickedness of Solomon. So if you're right with God and it is down with Christ, if you're right with him, folks, Why would you care about what the white man is doing? And that's hypocrisy. That's total contradiction. Teaching the Roman Empire that the Most High set him up and then blame him for what's going on. That's a contradiction. The Most High always used our big brother to chastise our wickedness. And if you're under Christ, you'll understand that. Next, the same so-called Israelites are claiming that you don't have to be baptized. But these are the same cats, if you go into their house, they got a closet full of hand sanitizer. Because Trump said the COVID-19 is out here. Let me tell you, folks, it's time to cleanse our souls and read this Bible and step to the plate and understand this thing is deeper than black and white. We wrestle not with flesh and blood. Okay? You can't make this a white issue. That's deflecting. That's deflecting when you should be getting yourself together. You don't have no time to be talking, oh, the white man this, the white man that. Let me tell you, that's the lowest level of doctrine and understanding of God's word. And and you know what? I know they're going to cut this and I want them to use this. I've met kinder and more righteous white people than some of these guys that are claiming to be Israelites. How about that? Stop dealing with that and understand that you've been called to a higher place, being God's people. And as a leader, since you've been called to be that, you have to know how to adjust your spirit to deal with all people. That's what a real leader does. Okay? That's what a real leader does. He adjusts himself to understand all of God's creation and his part. If you're going to be a leader, you're going to have to understand and adjust yourself to understanding those that you are prophesied to lead, right? That's what Christ would do. So don't claim to be a leader, but yet you need to be separate because these people are different. No. Show them better. Show them the error of their ways. That's what Christ would do. Because in order for them to lie to us, they had to lie to everyone else. And if you are a real teacher, you will bring them to the knowledge of this Bible and bring them to Christ and have them understand the error of their ways, the way how the Most High showed you the error of yours. Be baptized. Come out of all of those false religions and come to the knowledge of the Most High and the Almighty. With that, there's no need to take calls because we'll pick it back up Friday. I love you. Stay prayed up. We will soon see Zion. I don't think we need to say anything else, right? Shalom. To Zion.
To Zion. I was lost, but now I'm found. I'm a child of Israel. I heard the sound, hear the sound. Please give me the strength to stand today.
Wow.
With my eyes towards the east, show me the